Pod Jerky, bringing you an audio experience the likes of which you've never heard before.
Pod Jerky.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Pod Jerky. I am your host, Direktor Awesome, joined once again by my wife, Mrs. Awesome. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
So on our last episode, we did a little bit of a questionnaire kind of episode where I just had some fun and asked you a couple of questions. On this episode, I'm going to have you guess if these facts are true or false.
Do I win a prize?
No, there's no prizes. This is just for fun.
I don't want to play your game.
Yeah, well. This is then this is a very, very short episode. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
I feel like I should win prizes.
But what's your prize going to be?
$1 million.
That's not going to happen. I don't have $1 million.
A new light fixture that I found for the dining room.
I'll give you a high five.
That is
that is a good prize. That is a good prize.
Crappy prize. You can just take your prize back.
All right. So we're playing for nothing here. So you're just gonna tell me if you think.
If I were to call into a radio show, they'd have prizes for me.
I'm not a radio show. I'm technically.
You're a podcast.
I'm an internet show. I don't have prizes here. I'm not funded. If anybody would like to forward prizes,
I'll fund you. Give me a prize.
If everybody, well, then that's just buying yourself a prize. Like that doesn't mean you're winning a prize.
Does that mean I get to buy the new light for the dining room?
No, that does not mean that. But if anybody out there would like to forward prizes over here, then I could reward Mrs. Awesome if she were to get things correct. If she doesn't, then it would be donated.
Are you keeping? Donated. Are you keeping score?
I'm not. No, this is not. It's not a quiz. It's just you
let me know
if
someone sends a prize.
If these are true or false. Then we would have to do another episode where we'd have a questionnaire where we would have to do this. So here we go.
You need to state the rules before I agree to do these things.
Well, I wasn't expecting someone to ask for a prize.
You know me well enough to know I was going to ask. Come on now.
All right. So there are a bunch of these. So we're going to try and get through them fairly quickly so that doesn't take up too much time. All right. So the first one is Napoleon was short. True or false?
True.
It's actually false.
How tall was he?
So he actually stood 5'6".
So he's the same height as me.
Which is short for a male, but apparently at that time he was above average for an individual, like for a male. So that was actually not.
I challenge
true.
Your source.
Yeah, you can't.
Yes, I can.
Okay, don't eat and then swim right after.
That's false.
Do you know why it's false?
No, I just know it's false. It's the crap our parents used to tell us to control us is what my theory is.
Probably. But this is, so what they say is it doesn't increase your chance for cramps. Alcohol does, and a full stomach does. Right? So it's a full stomach doesn't. So like alcohol will increase your chance of cramps in a swimming pool right after consuming alcohol, but food will not.
Interesting.
Yeah. Salty water boils quickly.
I'm going to say false.
It is false. It actually can take longer with salty water. So adding a pinch of salt does not make a difference of...
I always just added the salt so the pasta didn't stick. That's the only reason I...
Well, there comes my next question.
Ooh, is that one true?
No, what? Is that the salt one? No.
Yeah, the pasta.
No. Oil stops sticky pasta.
What does the salt do? Nothing.
It doesn't do anything.
No.
It's a myth.
It slows down me boiling water.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So oil for no sticky pasta. You
Right.
should try that.
True or false?
True.
It is actually false.
Shut up.
It only makes it greasy. Stirring prevents sticking.
And not putting too much pasta in for the amount of water you have.
Yeah, that could be right. That could be right. People are left or right brained. True or false?
False.
So there's no solid division between the talents of each hemisphere. The left brain can learn right brain skills and vice versa.
There's a dominant side though, is there not?
I would imagine that yes, but your other side of the brain
Facebook
can
tells me
still
so
learn.
in all
Wow.
those stupid quizzes I took.
Everybody, everything that's posted on Facebook is true. We all know that.
Of course,
we have
everything
to
on the
believe-
internet is true.
And the thing that bothers me is that most people will see the headline, post it and repost it and repost it and repost it. And this is how
Meanwhile,
fake
it's just
news gets
clickbait.
out
It has
there.
nothing to do with what's actually in the article.
Right. And then you actually go in the comments and say do you actually read the article?
Yeah.
There was an article the other day online about one type of meteor. It was the first ever meteor that was about to hit Earth, and people were like, oh my God, this is crazy, this one's gonna actually hit Earth. But I don't think it was gonna be
it's this big, a little marble.
But meanwhile, they didn't go back and read the article, which was posted in 2014. So you're reading about this and you're commenting on it, but all you did was read the headline and take out what you thought about it. And because a lot of people want to be that instant sensation of, I got to post it first before everybody else, right? So it just gets reposted.
So Bruce
without
Willis does not need to save the planet.
No, he does not.
Okay.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. All right. Next one we have, and this one I always believed when people told me about this.
So
is
false?
if you were hold on, if you were to drop a penny from a high elevation. So for us in Toronto, it was always if you dropped a penny from the top of the CN Tower, that it would be able to split a human being in half if it were to hit them directly on top of the head. True or false?
False.
So it reaches a terminal velocity of 30 to 50 miles an hour.
That's pretty good
not,
for a penny.
Right, but it's not fast enough to kill anybody. I'm
really
imagining it would really hurt though. Right.
Yeah.
It would really, really hurt though. So apparently it cannot kill. I mean, I guess if
it fell the right way, could it lodge into you?
Right. That I don't know. But apparently
if a penny landed sideways and not flat.
Right.
You'd think at 30 to 50 miles or kilometers?
Miles.
That's significant.
It is. It is. But apparently it doesn't I'm sure there are instances where it can kill you, but it's not the myth that was out there that it would kind of just go straight through your body and split you in half. Because growing up, that's the myth that I always heard was drop a penny from the top of the CN Tower. And I can't imagine that nobody has ever thrown a penny from the CN Tower, the walkway on the outside. If you were to go on the walkway, that nobody's ever thrown a penny.
Makes me want to barf when people post photos of that.
Throwing pennies from the top of the CN Tower?
No, that stupid skywalk thing that you can do on the outside of the CN Tower. Why? What if the cable breaks? I'm sorry. I don't know why anyone.
Well, what if you walk outside and lightning hits? What do you It's
but I'm on the ground, so that's okay. Then it was meant to be. I'm not purposely sticking myself. How many feet tall is the CN Tower? Hanging from a cable.
1,535, I think.
Hanging from a cable, dangling over the city. I'm sorry if the damn thing breaks, that's your fault. If I walk outside and nature decides it's my time, then it's my time.
All right, now, if that human being fell from the top of the CN Tower and hit you, would you die? Right.
I think it would kill you.
So not only did they kill themselves, they also killed somebody else in the process.
Yeah, because there's always stuff going on down at the base of the CN Tower.
Yeah. Well,
the aquarium, the stadium,
our Sky Dome. I do not call it the Rogers Center. Our Sky Dome is right down there, and there are thousands of people down there, right near the base of the CN Tower. So there's always something going on down there.
Never. I think I said this when we were down at the game a little while ago, where I've lived in Ontario my entire life, and I've never been up the CN Tower.
Yeah, I've been up a few times. Yeah, it's okay. They have the glass there inside the CN Tower that you can walk on and look down, and a lot of people are afraid to walk on it. But apparently, every square inch, but every square inch can hold the weight of 16 elephants or some crazy stat like that. Yeah. So it's it is very, very strong, and nobody's gonna fall through that. It's there's no way.
For how long? And there's never been
an incident. Yeah, right. All right. So
we'll be the one because that's our luck.
Yeah. So we're not going up there.
Just not taking me up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three wise men. True or false?
I mean, the Bible tells me so. So.
All right. Nowhere in the Bible does it specifically say that there were three wise men. It just says the wise men.
But there were three gifts, so there's an assumption.
There's an assumption.
Right.
But when we say the three wise men, apparently there's like, I've read the Bible front to back a few times, and that's not something that's ever crossed my mind to say, you know, was there three wise men, or, you know, it's like the gift of the Magi and the wise men. It's never the three wise men. And I've never actually thought about that. And it actually apparently does not, like, they didn't ever mention three wise men. No. Now, somebody may refute me on that if they're listening and say, you know what? Yes, there is, and whatever. If there is, please feel free to show where it does say that in the Bible, what verse it is, and I'll take a look at it. This is not me. This is what I'm reading.
Internet, so yes. It's true.
So it's true. This is what we're reading on the internet. All right. Next question is: dogs sweat by salivating. True or false?
False.
Do you know how they sweat?
Through their paws.
And that's why they have nacho paws?
Well, apparently they have nacho paws because there's bacteria, and that is what you smell.
So you really, really like...
I do love the smell of their paws. It's gross. Bacteria. I know. I'm not the only one. But apparently that's what the smell is it's bacteria on their paws. I mean, let's face it, they walk on it. They're in the ground. They're in the grass. There's other animals around. Like, God only knows what they're stepping in. It's not like I lick their paws. No.
But you always like to take their paws and sniff Doritos. Them and go, nacho paws.
They do smell like nacho paws. I don't know. It's not like stinky human feet. So.
Right. No, I hate feet. Don't get me started on that. Yeah. All right. Next one we got here. True or false that you can see the Great Wall of China from space?
I mean, I'm going to say yes. True.
It is false. You cannot see any one structure from space.
But you can see city lights. You can see,
you would be able to see the lights that are lit up on the wall. Yeah. You cannot see any one structure from space.
But it's not just one structure. It's like freaking kilometers and kilometers long.
It's kilometers long. However, it's one structure as the Great Wall of China. Right. So that's what they're saying.
So you can't see roads, therefore you wouldn't be able to see the Great Wall. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. The toilets in Australia flow in the opposite direction.
True or false? I want to say true.
No, it's false. It does not rotate the other way. It doesn't have any effect.
My whole life.
Yeah, right. So these are things that we're told in life.
Where did we learn that?
I don't know.
It's like we grew up with that
I want to say probably the movies.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I remember it on The Simpsons. The Simpsons had an episode where they went to Australia. Of course, it
must be true of The Simpsons.
No, but they had the water flowed backwards, and then I believe there was another show. I don't know if this was still The Simpsons, where they created a machine that to make it feel like America. They had the water start off in the opposite direction, but this machine made it flow in the proper direction, like the regular direction. And I think it might have been The Simpsons. I could be wrong, but I think that was The Simpsons as well.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I would think that. What difference does it make? It's the mechanics of the toilet. It has nothing to do with anything else. And I know that, but for whatever reason, I still believe it flows counterclockwise.
We'll have to go to Australia and check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is humans and dinosaurs lived together.
False.
It is false. Apparently, over 40% of the population in the world think that they did live together, where they actually mixed each other by about 60 million years.
That's probably like Ice Age that did that.
That's a long time.
The movie Ice Age, right? Because there was cavemen in Ice Age movie, I think.
Yeah. We only have 5 senses. True or false?
I mean, those are the ones they talk about.
So is it true or false?
You're gonna tell me it's false, but I don't know. I'm gonna say true.
It's actually false. Apparently, scientists believe we have 21 senses.
Really?
Yeah, so we only learn about the main ones,
Yeah.
right? And apparently, there are more that include balance, pain, temperature. Those are all different senses that we have that I guess we don't talk about very often.
Yeah.
We'll talk about our pain sensories and like different areas of the temperature, like for our bodies, and but we never include those in the senses. So I wonder if they're talking about senses in general, but we say the 5 main senses usually, right? Or what are our 5 main senses?
Yeah.
So I think that's where the kind of discrepancy comes. I don't want to ask this next one because it will cause a lot of controversy, but you know what? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe people will be able to answer this one, that vaccines cause autism. What do you think?
Listen, according to all of the medical research, it's false.
It is false.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, I there's a lot of research done on this stuff. A lot of some of these articles and stuff have been manipulated in order to show that it causes autism. I don't believe it causes autism. I'm not a doctor. I can't answer that question correctly. That's my belief that they do not cause autism. We all had the vaccines when we were children. I don't think anything really came out of it. I think there's more of a environmental factor, food factor in terms of the way our foods are processed, the chemicals that we are ingesting. Like people are having children at an older age. This is no disrespect to anybody. This is just kind of like an observation that I've had. There's so many
something
factors.
Has changed to increase the stat in the number of kids born, like the whatever it is, however many kids will be born with autism. Something has changed,
and I think there has to be a fallback where people are blaming
vaccines
for it.
I'm sure there are things in the vaccines that we took as kids that are different than the same vaccine name that they're taking now, which is probably why there's so much controversy and conspiracy around it. I don't know enough to offer an educated statement that something has changed from when we were children. But a lot of it has to do with chemicals that are in just about everything, right? If you think laundry detergent, the creams, the perfumes, the shampoos, like all the stuff that we consume now, or you see available now compared to when we were kids.
Yeah.
Like it's vastly, vastly different.
Yeah. And I also think that there's one individual who started this whole campaign on vaccines cause autism. I'm not going to mention any names. People will probably get mad about it. But I think a lot of that started to gain steam after this individual came out with this whole story of this is what we believe. You can go to 5 doctors. Hold on. You can go to 5 doctors. 4 of them will tell you no. 1 will tell you yes, and you'll believe that one doctor. So, I mean, that's how things go in this world. So that's whatever it is. But that's my feeling on that. And I don't want to really get onto a touchy subject because I don't want to offend anybody with that.
We could also probably do a whole episode on the conspiracies around.
Oh, we are going to do an episode. We will have an episode on conspiracies. I don't know when it's going to come out, but you just bought me a book, that little book of conspiracies. So we're actually going to sit and go through it.
And it's up to date. Like it has COVID in there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're going to actually do that episode.
You love a good conspiracy theory.
I do.
I bought it as a bathroom book.
I like a good conspiracy.
Facts.
I like a good conspiracy because it makes you think. Because it makes you think of the other side, not just being what you're being spoon fed every day. It makes you think, hey, there are other sides to the story. So that's why I like them. Okay, next one that we got, because we did go a little off track on that one, was you should never touch a baby bird.
I want to say this is true. There's something about the oils or the scent that we leave behind.
I'm glad you said that.
It turns the mother off.
I'm glad you said that.
What do you mean?
Because it's false. Because apparently birds have a limited sense of smell, so it does nothing. Yeah, it does nothing. It won't. They won't abandon their babies. Why are we not allowed to
touch the nest then?
I don't know if that's just a myth, that we're not supposed to do that.
We need to do research on this.
Yes.
Our poor neighbors have a nest on top of their hydro box, which is literally right beside their front door. Every spring, a robin comes back and lays a nest there, and then they get attacked every time they try to leave their house because the mom's trying to protect the nest.
Right.
And I was like, we should relocate it to the tree because there's literally 10 feet away. There is a tree.
Well, I think it's because the bird has the sense of knowing where the nest is. And if you were to move the nest, right. So it's not more of you touching it. It has no idea where the nest moved to.
A load of garbage.
Well, our whole lives, we've been fed a lot of garbage that we've been made to believe. So, a lot of things aren't true. A lot of things are true that we've been told are false. So,
interesting.
Like this one that we talk about often.
Oh gosh.
We only use 10% of our brain. True or false?
I want to say true.
It's false. So, like, I believe it was the movie Lucy. Was it Lucy?
Yeah.
Where she enhanced her ability to use her brain, and then it became a whole.
She turned into liquid.
Yeah, and the computer and the whole system and whatever.
Yeah.
But apparently, so the proportion of the brain that's firing at any one time is task dependent. But ultimately, every region of your brain is used. So you would maybe be using 10% per task. So what we're doing right now, maybe we're only using 10%.
Yeah.
But your whole brain is always firing.
I did not go into neuroscience.
No, we have to ask Dr. Amy Farrah Fowler.
There you go.
Or Blossom.
Yeah. Well, she's a real neuroscientist. So she could probably answer the question for us.
She probably could. Body heat leaves the head. True or false?
Well, my mom told me I had to wear a hat in the winter to keep warm. So I'm going to say true.
So there's another false thing that we've been fed. So it does in infants. So maybe as children, yes.
Okay.
But unless the head is the only thing that's uncovered in cold weather, that's where it's going to leave the head, but it will leave any part of your body that's uncovered.
Well, that makes sense because in the winter, you're typically bundled up. You got the boots, the mitts, the jacket, the pants.
Right.
And so then typically your head's the only thing left exposed. So they weren't totally lying to us.
Not totally. But I think that they probably got told.
It's the same reason we wear toques in the winter.
Right.
In the hot tub.
Yes. Well, I don't like that cold breeze on my head anyway. So.
Well, no, but your lack of hair may have something to do with it.
But I mean, like generation to generation is broken telephone. Right. So your parents' told them one thing and then they kind of modified that rule.
Old wives' tales, isn't it?
And then we kind of modify it. And then the generation after us is going to modify it even further. So
that's it. Any kid listening to this, you're just going to see hats being tossed every winter. The load of crap, Mom.
Yeah.
Pod Jerky told me so.
Yeah, that's right. Remember that. Tell them that Pod Jerky told you so they'll come and tune in and listen too. Next one, we have you should never wake a sleepwalker.
I mean, we were always told never to wake a sleepwalker. I didn't know any sleepwalkers.
You can absolutely wake a sleepwalker. They'd be really confused and they have a better chance of hurting themselves if you don't wake them because they can walk down a stair, fall down the stairs, the normal typical thing. This next one.
But how do you know they're awake?
How do you know if they're awake?
Sleepwalkers can carry on like full conversations with you.
Well, I mean, if we believe the movies like we talked about in earlier on or in another episode, if you believe the movies, then they're walking like
arms out, zombie.
Yeah, like that's how a sleepwalker walks. That's not really how a sleepwalker walks. I mean, my brother when he was younger actually did it once. He was sleepwalking and my parents were still awake watching TV at night and he went downstairs. And my parents said, like, what are you doing out of bed? And I think he had a full on conversation with them. Oh, I have to clean my clothes. And I think he like stripped down his clothes and put them in the laundry and went back to bed. So, I mean, my parents were just like, what is happening here? But he was a young kid at that point. So he wouldn't have been doing laundry. But I mean,
yeah.
And then their process was don't wake them because you're not supposed to wake a sleepwalker.
That's what we were told.
Right. Right. So
Where do we
apparently
get this crap from? Like, where was no sleepwalkers in
generations
my
and generations of information that was passed down.
talk about broken telephone?
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, we were told, like, I had no sleepwalkers in my family, but I still believe that we're not allowed to walk sleepwalker.
Right. Wake a sleepwalker or walk a sleepwalker.
Put a leash on them and take them down the street.
Yeah. So this one we actually have talked about before,
Uh-oh.
that when you're sick, you should not have dairy. True or false?
Well, it depends on the sick. My understanding is if you have a stomach bug, don't drink dairy, because mostly because it's not going to taste good coming up. Like if you're barfing, don't drink dairy because the coming up is not going to be pleasant.
So again, what I was always told is when you're sick, it increases mucus in your cough and your lungs and all that. So you should not be drinking.
I was never that technical.
You should not be drinking milk. So whenever I was sick, and still to this day, I don't drink it until I found this out, that it might be okay to drink while you're sick. Not that I drink a ton of milk, but apparently it doesn't. There's no need to avoid dairy if you're sick.
My only thing on dairy would just be that if you're physically ill, then it just isn't going to be fun coming up.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't imagine that it would be fun coming up. All right. So the next one we have, and this one again, we were always told as children that it takes 7 years to digest gum.
So I'm going to clearly it's false.
Because if you were to swallow,
you said it.
Right. But if you were to swallow gum, when I was a kid, I was always told, do not swallow your gum.
Yeah. It's like 7 years of bad luck when you break your ear.
Right. It takes 7 years to digest. And apparently the chewy base of gum is indigestible and passes straight through. So you cannot, it doesn't take 7 years to digest.
The crap we were fed.
Right. Right. Like it's just.
I'm never going to be the same after this episode. There's so many things I believe that have been shattered.
Yeah, exactly. How about bulls hate the color red? True or false?
I don't think they hate it, but they're something triggers them. That's why they use it. I don't know why.
It's actually false because bulls are colorblind.
But
So bulls cannot see the red.
The red is for show, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So they perceive the motions as like the.
So I could wave a white flag in front.
You could raise a white flag, right? So apparently that
they still wouldn't stop even if I raised the white flag. Interesting.
Here's an interesting one.
All right.
Okay, your hairs and nails keep growing after you die. True or false?
I was always told true.
It's actually false.
Like there's nothing left. I don't understand how it can grow, but.
Well, it's actually not growing as much as your skin is receding. So your skin is receding to make it look more like.
Yeah.
Because when your body's decomposed, you see that as a skeleton. So, I mean, if your skin starts to recede, then obviously it's going to have that perception of.
Do you have a happier question next?
No.
That was gross.
Let me see. What do we got here for the next one? Sleepers swallow 8 spiders per year. True or false?
Oh, that's a lot of crap. False.
Is it? You think so?
I freaking hope so.
It is false. They usually don't crawl into
I'm surprised
beds.
you sleep.
Yeah, spiders usually don't crawl into beds during nighttime, but because they offer no prey. No one's offering any prey for them. You probably swallow 0 spiders a year.
Yeah. You might get bitten by one in your sleep because I feel like that's happened.
I believe that's happened before as well. But that could be just a spider wandering, trying to get from one side of the bed to the other. Not that we have many spiders in this house anyway.
Because I kill them all for you.
Yeah, because I won't.
I know.
But they might be just crossing, across the headboard, and maybe they just jump on your head for, to kind of cross, not jump on your head, but you know what I mean?
We don't need to go into detail.
Yeah. And then they hit a spider bite and they're gone.
Neither of us is sleeping tonight.
No. Van Gogh cut off his ear for a lover.
I don't really know anything about him other than he was a painter. I didn't take any art history in school. I'm going to say true.
He actually cut off a lobe. He cut off a lobe for, I believe it was a
Part of your ear?
prostitute. So he didn't. So in like the myth is that he cut off his entire ear and sent it in a box, like, as a present to one of his lovers. And it was actually a prostitute that he sent a lobe to. That was the story. Nobody has any proof that actually happened, but that was the story that was told.
It makes because most of these guys become famous after they die.
Right.
So it just makes him more intriguing if there's a little bit of conspiracy and filth attached to him.
Right. So all you Pod Jerky listeners out there, if you're still around in 50 years and I go and I pass away, somebody create some kind of story and mystery about me so that people in future generations will be like, whoa, that's a cool fact. And then nobody will look it up on the internet. They won't read the story. They'll just read the headline and it'll be posted all over. We're good.
We'll create one and we'll have it launched the day you die.
Right.
It'll be in your will.
Okay. Last question here. Last one is that ninjas wear black. True or false?
True, because the movies told me so.
Right. So there it is. So the uniform comes from years of fiction and folklore. Real ninjas wore anything that would help them blend into daily life. So it actually is just, they could wear camo, they could wear normal street clothes. It doesn't really matter. They didn't have to be all dressed in black. That's just something that the movies and the fiction told us, just to kind of make it seem more, I guess, the distinction between a ninja and a regular fighter that they were fighting or whatever it was. So yeah, that was it. So I'm kind of out of questions here. We went through about 51 of them. I skipped a few.
Seriously?
Yeah, I skipped a few of them. So that was pretty much all of the ones that we were going to go through. If you didn't notice, every single one of them was false. There were no trues in there. So every single one of them was false. If you hadn't noticed that one, it was actually, I kind of changed it up to a true or false from a myths debunked. So they were all debunked, the myths that were read out there.
I feel misled.
And it was true or false. So that's why you weren't going to win any prizes, because it was trickery anyways from the beginning. So there you go. This is why you weren't going to win a prize.
This is it. I'm not playing your games anymore.
Well, maybe next time you're going to figure out a game. You're going to figure out a game or a questionnaire, and you're going to be able to host another show where you get to do it for me and see what prize I get.
No prize. I am your prize.
All right. So that's going to do it for this episode. Once again, I am Director Awesome, joined by Mrs. Awesome.
Bye, everybody.
That was a kind of a delayed reaction, but
I'm waving because you're recording this, and I'm like, everybody can just know that I'm saying goodbye.
Yeah, nobody saw that because your hand is below the camera, so nobody could see that. Anyway, yeah. So for Pod Jerky, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Pod Jerky. You can find all of our links on our link tree. That's linktr.ee/Pod Jerky. As always, stay safe, be kind to each other, and we will see you later.
Here we go now. Play that beat.
Pod Jerky.